Good morning, everybody, and welcome to August. Today is Monday, August 3rd, and this is the Downtown SLO weekly COVID-19 response and recovery call. Seeing a lot of familiar faces on this call and also some new ones, so thank you for being here this morning. My name is Bettina Swigger, and I am the CEO of Downtown SLO, the Downtown San Luis Obispo Business Association. And we have been holding these weekly meetings, I think, going on 4 months now. And it's always a pleasure to see everybody. This is a chance for us to connect, learn from our partners at the City of SLO, at the Chamber, at Cal Poly, and get some gathered strength and some shared knowledge for us to get through the week together. So we are also working, we're streaming this Zoom call live on our Facebook business group as well. And if you are not a member of that group, I encourage you to join that group. It is a private approval-based group, so we can have candid conversations there. And it's a great place to stay up to date about all of the things that are changing every day. So that group is called Downtown SLO Businesses. And if you join that, you can hear from us in the moment. So here we are again in August, and we are living in a new reality, a new month, a lot of similar challenges, but we are getting ready for an exciting month that will be full of additional challenges, I'm sure. So thanks for your patience as I stream on Facebook and also manage the Zoom. Hopefully you're all in here. I see that there are about 27 of you here today, so thanks for being here. Thanks for continuing to show up week after week. Thanks also to our Downtown SLO Board of Directors and our liaisons. This group of 17 individuals has really stepped up during this crisis. Downtown SLO is a dynamic and interesting, challenging and fun organization in any time, but especially during this time. It has been a moment of real discovery and a need to come together. So I thank each of you for your leadership on the board of directors and as liaisons. We really appreciate you very much. So thanks for that. I'm also going to invite next our COO, Rachel Maiorino, to share a little bit about what is our current reality in San Luis Obispo. Rachel?
Thank you, Bettina. As of Friday, we were at 1,783 cases of COVID-19 that have been reported in SLO County, with 241 of those in the city of SLO, to give context of where SLO is fitting into the county of SLO. Over the last week, the total number of deaths due to COVID-19 have unfortunately also increased, with the total now at 15 in the county. Our condolences go out to those families and friends of those individuals. And just a reminder, as we all know, that we can each do our part to really look out for those who are most vulnerable. On the next slide, we can see that the county is remaining on the state's monitoring list. And that is due to our elevated disease transmission tracked through our case rate, which on the little yellow arrow isn't popping up. But basically, our case rate is greater than 100 people per 100,000 people. And that's within a 14-day period. I believe we're sitting at about 200. Oh, we're at the California stats. But San Luis Obispo is around 200 per 100,000. So still have some way to go to get that number down to come off of the county just monitoring list. And with that, Bettina, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Great, thanks, Rachel. And we, try to track all of the changing statistics so that you can go and live your lives and run your businesses. So hopefully this is a helpful touchstone for you to come back to week after week. I also wanted to just do a little update on what's going on with the federal economic relief package. Last week, we discussed that there was a stimulus package at the Senate that was unfortunately not able to be reached. So the Senate adjourned on Thursday without passing that additional stimulus package, and the additional unemployment of $600 per week that was offered through the CARES Act, which was adopted back in March, that expired on Friday. So the Senate was working over the weekend to reach some kind of an agreement, but we, as of today, at this time, unless something's happened in the last 5 minutes, we don't know what that is going to look like. It's unlikely that that additional unemployment of $600 will be extended. It'll probably be less. There were talks last week about bringing it down to $200 a week, or eventually transitioning that to what would be 70% of prior salary for those who lost their jobs. But again, nothing is solid at this point. I do want to just remind folks that the economic injury disaster loans, applications for that program are still being accepted. So you can find out more about that when you go to sba.gov. And I believe our candidate, our representative from the Small Business Development Center, Olivia, later today will be sharing a little bit more about that information. Also wanted to just point out some interesting figures that I've been following, trying to keep my finger on the pulse of the economy nationally, in the state, and locally. And we were doing some research into the prevalence of the labor force prior to COVID. And this is a chart that shows the civilian labor force and the areas that have been most impacted by by losing their jobs in the COVID reality. So it's interesting to think about how these specific categories, food preparation and serving, personal care and service, art, design, entertainment, and how those top three here, or let's see, the top two, and then one that's a little bit down from the top three, really directly are representative of what kinds of businesses are in our downtown. And if you look on the next slide, this is some data that is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics local area unemployment. And this is from June. So these are numbers that are from the end of June 2020. I don't have the numbers from July because those figures won't come out until the end of this week. And I'll definitely be looking for those figures when they are announced. But those jobs on that previous slide are representative of a lot of the jobs in that giant tick upward, that vertical line that you see that came in March and April. So you can see that the unemployment rate is beginning to drop on a month over month comparison, but year over year, it's still quite high. And it's interesting to think about the unemployment rate in San Luis Obispo in 2019 was 2.4%. And as of June 30th, it was 12.1%. So just something to think about as we look at the overall economy, our reality, and how you are all planning for your business's future in our beautiful downtown. With that, I'm going to invite Lee Johnson, the Interim Economic Development Manager from the City of SLO, to give us a little update on what's going on in the city. How are you today, Lee?
Good, Bettina. How about yourself?
Very well, thank you.
Excellent. Yeah, just a quick update today. We continue to work on Open SLO, trying to help people who can work out in the outdoors, give them space to do that. So we're looking, right now we have about 35-ish parklets going. We're also running the Fitness in the Parks program, and we're doing our private parking lot program as well. So those things continue to move forward. We'll be looking a little bit more closely at some of the parklets and things and making sure they're being used, that kind of stuff this week as we determine what's next there. We're working on rolling out a fast track program for tenant improvements so we can help people who actually want to do something new or modify a space to be able to do that. And then we're also working with the Chamber and others on a grant program for businesses, when more information should be coming out on that in the next few days to a week. That's it from my end. Thanks.
Great. Could you talk a little bit more about those fast track tenant improvement programs? What does that specifically mean?
So the general idea is you can put in your TI depending on the scope and scale, as long as it's not a major structural change. You'll be able to turn that in like on a Thursday. We'll review it during the day. As long as it's in by like Thursday morning, we'll review it. And then as long as it's complete, we'll set an appointment for the next Tuesday to have everybody at the city that's a reviewer be available to answer questions and resolve any issues, and then hopefully issue the permit by the following Thursday. So basically a week turnaround time on a TI, on smaller scale TIs, is the general idea.
That's great. Thanks for the update on that. And it's
Mhm.
exciting to hear too about the potential direct relief for businesses through the Chamber and the Community Foundation. So
Yep,
um, anything else from your end?
that's it.
Okay, great. Thanks, Lee. And it really is extraordinary to see those parklets out there. 35, that is just, it's wild. We did send an email to the city staff and to city council last week, thanking them for the rapid deployment. And in that correspondence, I just said something I'll say to you all today, which is that, you know, with the second round of shutdowns came in, it would have been really easy for us to go back into sort of those dark shuttered days of March and April. And instead, we're looking at a downtown that looks more European, more vibrant. And I just really want to applaud everybody's work putting those parklets out so quickly. So thank you. Thank you for that. Up next, we have Jim D'Antona from the SLO Chamber. And I want to thank Jim for including me last week. We did a working lunch. Jim, are you out there?
Yep.
Oh,
Absolutely.
hi. I lost you there for a second. Thanks for including me on the working lunch on Friday. That was a lot of fun. I appreciated the chance to have a conversation.
No, thank you. It was really great to have you. Really interesting conversation from the discussion we were having. I know it helped folks, you know, you get to see some of those things that you do very publicly and some of those things that happen behind the scenes. So getting a chance to see with the downtown SLO, I think was super helpful. And I know everybody really enjoyed the conversation. So thanks for being with us. If you didn't get a chance to see it, for everyone else who's out there, it's still up on our Facebook page, the Chambers, and you can watch the conversation. It's a quick half-hour conversation with you know, some really good, fun topics. So additionally, want to let you know that you'll see probably in the next couple hours, the Chamber will be shooting out another survey. We did a survey in early July and saw some really, as I've mentioned on here before, positive, felt very optimistic. We know things have changed, and so we just want to check in and see if any of that feeling has changed, if needs have changed. And so that will be going out. We'll have it open from today until next Wednesday. Additionally, want to let folks know that we are still doing all the work behind the scenes as Bettina was just talking about, to monitor what that next level of stimulus is coming out, and obviously we'll kind of work closely with our downtown SLO compatriots to make sure you're getting all the information, that we're putting out all the information that's available as things might be changing. And then finally, what I would like to say, I'd like to echo what Bettina said regarding kind of the city of SLO and how they've, and all the folks, including the Downtown SLO Association, have reacted to the rollback. As I was in another town, I will not say which one, and talking to some folks who run restaurants, they were jealous of the work that's going on here in SLO, as others are not seeing that same response. And so a big thank you to you know, Lee, Derek, and the council for really putting their money where their mouth is and supporting the community. I think I saw it firsthand how great it really works. So thanks to everyone, and we'll keep on keeping on as we roll into August. Can't believe it's August.
Thanks, Jim. Do you have any insight into the program that Lee teased about, the economic relief grant program that you're working on?
Yeah, well, I would say we're getting closer to it. We've had, it's an unusual, so we found some folks who privately wanted to support the business community. The city has some money that it was received as part of the CARES Act. And so between the Community Foundation, the SLO Chamber of Commerce, and the city, we're working, and we're coming up, hopefully, putting on the final touches on how this program will work. Obviously, a lot of different needs within that. So we just need to kind of finalize that, but we will be going hopefully in the next week or so out to let folks know to apply for mini grants. But we're just finalizing what that looks like and what are all the rules that have to go into that. And with 3 different organizations, a lot of fun, trying to check off the boxes for everyone. But I think we'll hopefully have maybe an announcement we can make next week here on Monday.
Okay, great. Well, we'll look forward to that. And that's just another reason to tune in every Monday. Cool. Thanks, Jim. Up next, we have Courtney Keno, who is our board liaison to Cal Poly. I see we also have some other guests from Cal Poly. Hi, Bob. Bob Linscheid's on the call. I see some other folks as well. Courtney, how's everything looking at Cal Poly?
Good morning. Wow, that's a hard question to put into 1 or 2 words. Optimistic maybe is the right word. Cautiously optimistic. On Friday, we launched a new website, which I will put in the chat. And the goal with this website is to make it just easier to navigate all the information that's coming out about fall and sports and housing and everything else going on. And there's a section on it that is really geared toward our visitors, parents, and supporters. So if you all want to check that out, you're welcome to. As of this morning, we are still waiting on guidelines from the governor for higher education. We're hopeful that we're going to be able to stick with the plans that I've talked to you all about over the last few weeks, which is 15% of our classes in person, and and to plan for going virtual at any point should we need to. We did shift the calendar, so we are starting classes a few days early and then ending a few days early on November 20th, shifting to all virtual. And the goal with that is right before Thanksgiving, when a lot of students travel to their places of origin, their homes, that they stay at those places and don't travel back and forth until the winter quarter starts in January. We had a big announcement last week for sports that the Big West Conference is postponing all of their fall sports through the end of the calendar year. So that's affecting men's and women's cross country, men's and women's soccer, and women's volleyball. As of right now, basketball is still planned to begin in November, but we'll see how that goes over time. And then we're still waiting on a decision from Big Sky, which is football, and wrestling. So those decisions we're expecting sometime this week. Quickly, housing. We're waiting on the higher education guidelines for housing, but offering students who have all virtual schedules to postpone their contracts with us until January. And all of that information can be found on that website that I put in the chat. And then just wanted to let you all know that we're having lots of meetings around student events. So our Panhellenic groups, which include Greek Life, are hosting all of their events virtually. And we're re-reviewing protocols for health and safety in a lot of different aspects. So those are the big things going on, and appreciate the time, and Bettina and Rachel, all that you're doing.
Thanks, Courtney. I can't imagine all of the different pieces that you're working with every day. So I do have a specific question about housing in the downtown. Mm-hmm. Do you know if the Cal Poly lofts will be available, or is that something you're also waiting on guidance for?
So the Cal Poly lofts are unique in that most of them are single occupancy. So they should be fine. It's going to be dependent on those students and if they have any classes that are in person. A lot of the classes that those students are taking are more of the hands-on classes. So it'll depend, but yes, we are definitely planning to have occupancy in the lofts in the fall.
Okay, great. And are you also getting any data or information about how the housing market is being affected by or is it too soon to tell? I know a lot of leases started in July. Mm-hmm. What are you hearing on the street?
Yeah, so there's so much that's still unknown at this point. But we have, so typically, to put this in context, we have about 8,000 students that are living on campus in any regular year. That number is going to drop significantly no matter what, because we're not going to be able to triple and do a lot of the things that we typically do. So we are working with the city, Lee and his team, trying to figure out contracts with hotels and different ways that we can accommodate some of our students should that become a need. We've done that in the past and it's worked really well. In terms of rental units around town, we are hearing that a good portion of students are planning on coming back, but that there's so, as we've word on the street, like you said, it is so many of the students are saying, yeah, I'm planning on coming back unless, or if, or, you know, so there's just still so much that even students we're hearing are weighing as they're trying to decide what they're going to do.
Okay, great. Well, I mean, sometimes the answer is we don't know yet, right? That's completely understandable, but it is helpful to know that some of those other pathways are being explored, like the hotel partnership and that. So we'll look forward to next week as well. It sounds like our August 10th meeting is going to be one for the books. So everybody tune in. Thank you, Courtney. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Up next, we are going to invite, we want to get a little bit of update on everyone's favorite downtown subject, which is parking. So we have Gavin Hussey. And Gavin, can you give us a little update on what the current situation is with parking in the downtown?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone had a great weekend. So we've continued to be pretty busy at the 2-hour meters, and we brought back the rates last Monday. So it's been a week of that, of issuing warnings. Only a handful of actual sites were issued to vehicles that kind of ping-ponged around town, thinking that the parking was free at a different meter if they moved to a different location. So I want to say we only issued about 15 sites last week, and the rest were warnings across the city. The 10-hour meters are seeing moderate use, so we do see that the work staff in the downtown area have started to move out to those locations, and the parking structures have stayed pretty consistent numbers-wise over the last couple of weeks. So Palm 919, where Public Works is located, has stayed relatively full on a daily basis, 7 days a week. The Palm 842 structure across from the theater has remained about 65 to 70% full on a daily basis. And then the Marsh Street structure hovers between about 45 and 60% on any given day. So pretty good numbers all around. We'll continue with the warnings this week. We saw a lot of people, paying for their meters, and they were aware of what was happening in the downtown area. So overall, it was pretty good.
Great. Are you seeing any change in that occupancy in the parking structures over the weekend versus during the week?
So it's actually kind of funny. We started off last week being a little bit busier than we normally are. Monday, Tuesday were relatively high, and then we saw a dip on Wednesday and Thursday. So the numbers actually dropped midweek, and then they did come back Friday and Saturday. But then again, this past Sunday, it did slow down again in all 3 parking structures.
Fascinating. Lots of trends to be extrapolated there, I'm sure. And can you remind us what your trigger point is for when the structures will start being enforced?
Yep. So the intent is we need to reach 50% occupancy or greater for 2 consecutive weeks.
And that has not been hit yet? Or
it is not. No. So, the intent is to bring back all the structures at one time, so it's not piecemealed together. So there's consistency there. We are going to hit that 50% in all 3 structures at some point. Right now we're looking at right after Labor Day, but that might get pushed back if the numbers continue like last week, where we saw a dip way below 50% at Marsh.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you very much. And that's good news to know that you're doing warnings before tickets. People always appreciate that, even when they see the blue envelope, if it's not a total, sinking feeling in the chest, that helps. Great. And if anybody has any questions about parking, you can always reach out to Gavin. He and his team are very responsive. So thanks again for that. And up next, we are going to have our guest from the SBDC. And today, instead of Judy, we have Olivia. So Olivia, welcome to the Downtown SLO Response and Recovery calls.
Hi, excuse me. Thank you so much for having me this morning. My name is Olivia. I'm the project coordinator for the SBDC. I wanted to give a quick update and share information about our upcoming workshop that we'll be hosting on August 25th. We hosted one back in July and had great feedback from the format that we held. It was a two-part workshop. It had a general session and breakout sessions specific to the restaurant, retail, and health and wellness industries. So coming up in August, we will be hosting another workshop, and the theme of that is to plan and prepare for Q4. I'll go ahead and share. Oh, do you mind if I share my screen real quick?
Yeah, one moment, Olivia. Let me enable this.
Okay, if not, no worries. Okay, so we will be hosting our workshop, and we're very excited, August 25th. So this month, we'll be including Lanny Lott and Steve Burnside. We'll discuss strategies on preparing for Q4 and provide some digital marketing tools to help our businesses succeed. And then for our breakout sessions, we will still continue to incorporate restaurant, retail, and health and wellness industries. We have some panelists that are experts in each area. And then this month, we'll be bringing on some of our clients to share some of their success stories and provide some tips for other businesses within those industries. And then I will go ahead and put some information about that in the chat if you guys would like that. That's it from me.
Great. While we have you, Olivia, thank you for sharing that information. Are you hearing any type of updates from the state or federal level about what's going on in Senate and what types of relief might be coming?
I have not received an update yet. That is something that we'll be discussing as a team this week. But for now, I don't have anything to share.
Okay, that's totally understandable. Thank you so
Thanks.
much for being with us today. We appreciate it. Okay, up next, that'll be a great event. And if you're not tired of seeing my face and hearing me talk, I'll be there as well. So please do join us. Up next, we're talked a little bit about these amazing parklets that have been put in the downtown. And we have created a map of the outdoor dining parklets. And there's actually a more up-to-date one that is from last week. So this is an older slide, but we do have more than 30 now, I believe. So thanks to Whitney, our farmers market manager turned IT coordinator for Downtown SLO, who has done a great job of doing this communication. We've been posting that and sharing it on our social media, and people are really, really responding to it. So it's very cool. I did a walk around downtown yesterday and Saturday and Thursday and Friday. So basically every day I'm walking around and I'm looking at all of the parklets and seeing how they're being brought to life with really cool banner artwork by Badger Branding. You can see that pink in front of Yogurtland there and the yellow in front of Woodstocks. There's some really colorful, cool cultural icons that are out there covering up those barriers, and lots of umbrellas popping up. So it's just really neat to see, and it's interesting to talk to the downtown restaurants about their experience moving operations outside. We'll continue to see that evolve over time, but we are pushing the message that we are open, and you can see that mask over that O in the open is also matches the O in our Downtown SLO logo. We're encouraging people to come downtown and be safe wherever possible. So thanks again to the city for doing that. And hopefully we'll have a case study from one of the business owners who have successfully implemented their outdoor dining services on one of our future calls. We'll look to get that for maybe next week or the week after that. And we are also promoting the Downtown Dine Out program. So there are tables and chairs in Mission Plaza that are available for free, no reservation required at this time from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. And Parks and Rec is staffing the area to clean off those tables. So we're encouraging restaurants to encourage people to take takeout over to Mission Plaza and enjoy our beautiful outdoor space. And it's really neat to see. So if you haven't checked that out, we encourage you to do so. And we're also looking ahead. So one of the things that our organization does is in normal times, we plan holiday activities. And as it is now August, we're starting to move into the next phase of our planning going forward. So we're trying to think about what it might look like to have Santa's house, which, as you can imagine, has some safety challenges given the vulnerable population that Santa Claus belongs to. And we're trying to figure out how we can activate Mission Plaza for the holidays, work with this downtown Dine Out program, but also provide a safe opportunities for people to come downtown and shop for the holidays, because we know that's a really important part of our retail economy. Last week, we talked a little bit about this grant program, which is available, and maybe Rachel can drop that in the chat. I know that at least one downtown business has applied for this program, and one of the criteria for the grant program is that you need to get a letter of recommendation from your Main Street Association. And Downtown SLO is a certified Main Street Association with the National Main Street Association. So if you are interested in applying, reach out to me. I'd be happy to provide a letter of recommendation and provide that Main Street perspective for that. And I think up next, we're going to talk a little bit about what our team is doing to help you. So Austin Bertucci is our ambassador. He is out on the street 4 days a week, cleaning our streets. You can see him with a mask. And he will be doing some leaf blowing, doing some sanitizing, cleaning the trash cans, cleaning the benches, and also assisting with some additional sanitation efforts with the city of SLO. Whitney is working on events and other programming, as well as our IT department. We have had to transition quite a bit in our organization to becoming virtual and getting some of our software systems up to date. So thanks, Whitney, for your great work. Rachel continues to serve us in this weekly capacity, running these meetings. Thank you, Rachel. And if you have any questions or member questions, Rachel would be a great person for you to reach out to. And I'm here doing the best I can every day to make downtown SLO the best it can be given our situation. So these are your 4 downtown SLO staff people, in addition to the 17 board members I showed you at the beginning of this presentation. And we continue to be allied with, as I mentioned before, Main Street America and the California Main Street Alliance. We also work with the International Downtown Association. So they are pushing out some really great information, and we get to learn from other communities what they're doing, how we can learn from their mistakes and capitalize on their successes, as well as just know that we're all in this together. Have had some really interesting conversations that have inspired my renewed confidence in San Luis Obispo and our ability to weather both the disease and the economic storm that's coming, simply because we are not the kind of downtown that has huge skyscrapers filled with office workers. A lot of other urban downtowns are facing mass exodus of office employees as the relationship that we have to working from home and telecommuting is changing. And so we actually are positioned in a place that's pretty strong, because going into this, we had our 2 new hotels open and new. Not great timing for them, but great timing for when we emerge from this. Even just the investment over the last 5 to 10 years, the fact that we have Cal Poly housing in our downtown, that there are projects in development that are bringing residents into the downtown. I expect that we will see an exodus from urban areas, which may benefit our community economically. So it's an interesting time to serve on those various committees and councils, and just wanted to share that we learn a lot from those relationships. So at this time, we are going to ask for questions from all of you. And to kind of stimulate your thinking, we have a few questions that we're going to ask in our polls. Just 2 questions today. I'm going to go ahead and launch these now. And today we're asking for today, August 3rd. We got the pessimistic coming in there and the optimistic. I can see the results coming in real time. It's great to see you all charge into these. My one request for Zoom is that you could see what I'm seeing when the polls are going live, because it's really fun to see. But we're asking about your level of confidence. And of course, like many people who've spoken today, the question is we don't have enough information necessarily to really be optimistic or really pessimistic. Last week when we launched these questions, it was, I believe, pretty much in the middle. Not a lot of very optimistic or very pessimistic. And I can tell you that we have one person out there who is very optimistic. So whoever you are, keep up the good work, keep that sunshiny smile alive. We also have one person who is very pessimistic. And I am sorry that you're having a bad day. And I hope that maybe you can reach out to somebody that you care about and go take a walk and get some fresh air. It's probably never a good idea to be very pessimistic about anything, even though things can be challenging. And then everyone else is kind of hanging out in the middle right now. So we'll go ahead and go to the next question. You can see somewhat optimistic was the prevailing impact here. So that's good. All right. People have had a big, healthy, filling breakfast, maybe an extra cup of coffee. Maybe we had a good weekend. And then we'll go into the next question, which is, what is the biggest challenge facing your business today? So given that the numbers are have been rising, we saw 2/3 of the COVID-19 cases in SLO County arriving in our county in July. Not surprising, we're seeing concern about the safety of employees and ensuring they don't become sick. We are hearing about people who are we know that there have been some positive cases in some of our downtown businesses, and that's expected. People have been pretty transparent about that, and that's been good to see. So it looks like here we are, the overwhelming sentiment is that uncertainty about consumer confidence is the number one thing that people are concerned about right now, which totally makes sense given the uncertainty of so much. Looks like about 55% of you have voted. If you're hanging out there and checking email and you want to dive in and take this poll, now would be your chance to have your vote counted. And also in November, don't forget to vote. Okay, thank you for that. Other questions out there? I see a question from Stephen. First of all, Stephen, congratulations for getting the Blade Runner up and running outdoors. That's very cool to see. We have the Ritual and the Blade Runner operating parklets downtown. I don't know about the, I'm assuming you mean parklets, not parakeets. I don't think we have any wild bird places in our downtown. Gavin, do you maybe have any interest, any information about other parklets that might be opening? I mean, retail is allowed to be open at this time, so I don't think that that would be part of it.
No, not at this time. We're actually meeting tomorrow. The Open SLO team will be meeting to review the expansion of spaces. So we did receive a couple of requests from several retailers to expand their outdoor dining areas. So we are going to be looking at that and the feasibility in different locations, just due to constraints with the size of roadways and available parking in the area.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, so we might see some more salons come in. I don't know, but that's a great question. Any other questions out there in your world on this Monday morning in August? All right, well, we do our best to stay on top of the ever-changing information. We try to push it out to you as quickly as possible. A couple of things for you to pay attention to this week will be news from DC about additional stimulus funding, news from the governor, of course, the state of California. We continue to see our case numbers rise. And the other thing that we're gonna try to stay on top of is any changing in the Cal Poly world, because we know that that really affects our local economy very, very much. So tune in next week If there are no other questions, we of course are available to you. You can email us at reachus@downtownslo.com. And we look forward to meeting with you again next week. If you enjoyed this meeting, if it was helpful or instructive, please tell a friend. We will be back here next Monday. And I hope that everybody has a really great week.